The story kicks off with a plane flying over the dense jungles of the Amazon, where our main character, whose name was Justine, was sitting peacefully with her friends heading back home when suddenly something unknown attacked their plane, which completely threw the plane off course, and it started going down from a really high altitude. Within just a few seconds, the plane crashed straight into the dense Amazon jungle. With a horrifying impact, the back section of the plane snapped off and broke apart, and a girl went flying out fast. As the plane kept going down, more and more people went flying out one by one. Seeing this, screaming broke out inside the plane. Then suddenly the plane came crashing down, wobbling right in the middle of the jungle. The crash was so horrifying that the branches pierced straight through the pilot and came out the other side. One girl had already died right in her seat. The rest of the people ran outside the plane immediately out of sheer terror. But the trouble did not stop there. The moment they got out, a student's head got caught in the spinning blades of the plane. In all this chaos, their GPS tracker also got lost somewhere, which left them completely stranded right in the dead middle of the jungle. Cell phones were totally useless here because there was no signal anywhere. Because of this, they could not even send a help message to anyone outside. On top of that, the doctor who had the most knowledge about this area had also now become just another dead body lying in the jungle, although the real terrifying story was just about to begin. Suddenly, Harv heard strange sounds coming from the direction of the jungle. Listening carefully, he realized that these sounds were coming from tribal people living in the area. He thought that if they helped out, then everyone could get back to camp through the river route, and from there they could get help. But the problem was that those tribal people could not understand a single word of English. What happened as a result was that they launched a direct attack on them. Because of the attack, Harv's girlfriend was shot and killed, and all the remaining people were knocked out cold using some kind of poison dart. A little while later, Justine's eyes opened. Coming back to her senses, she found herself lying in a wooden boat. The people sitting at the front and back of the boat were from that same jungle tribe. Panicking, she immediately started trying to untie the ropes tied around her hands. But the moment she tried to move, a tribal guy came jumping on top of her. This man, painted completely black, was the ruthless butcher of the tribe that ate human beings. The moment the boat reached the shore, the rest of the tribe members also appeared. Whether children or old people, everyone had painted their bodies with red color. Within just a short while, the captured students were picked up and taken to the tribal village. The moment they arrived at the village, they got a very strange welcome. Everyone started touching them in a weird way, but seeing the skeletons hanging from the trees and human skulls mounted on bamboo sticks made their condition even worse. When they reached the large huts where the tribal people lived, an old man came forward leaning on a stick. He was the elder chief of this very tribe. In the whole tribe, his word was considered absolute law. He just tapped his stick on the ground. Then all the cannibals who were making noise suddenly went completely quiet. Then he slowly came toward the students and examined each one of them carefully, one by one. After this, he started saying something in his own language. The students could not understand a single word he was saying. They all just looked at each other in complete confusion. A little while later, they were taken away from there. Then all of them were locked up in a pig cage. Outside the cage, a crowd of tribal people had gathered. They were all staring at them exactly the way animals are stared at right before they get slaughtered in a butcher shop. But the chubby guy turned out to be even more unlucky than the rest. He was left separately on his own right there. Then an old woman came over to him. She handed him a bowl of some strange liquid and forced him to drink it. The very next moment, he was shoved onto a large stone slab. His hand ropes were also cut. By the time he came back to his senses, several heavily built men had already pinned down his hands and feet. Then the tribe's chief came and stood right in front of him, and with absolutely zero mercy and one single move, he pulled out the chubby guy's eyes with his knife and started tasting them with great pleasure. After this, he cut out the chubby guy's tongue too, and ate that without any mercy as well. At the same time, the black butcher picked up a huge knife and started cutting off the chubby guy's arms and legs one by one. Within just a short while, the chubby guy was chopped up into pieces without any mercy. Watching this, I honestly just thought to myself that maybe being way too overweight can also be dangerous, because if you ever fall into the hands of people like this, then the chubby guy is going to be the very first one to get it. His body had now turned into food to be cooked for the tribal people. They were cutting up his body exactly the same way a butcher prepares pork. They separated every single part of his body very carefully, while the torso, after having a special spice-like paste applied to it, was put into a clay oven and left to roast. Within just a short while, the smell of cooking meat spread throughout the entire village. Even the children started drooling with greed. On the other side, Justine and her companions got even more terrified seeing all of this. Now they were completely certain that they had truly become the prey of real cannibals. But out of all of them, only Harv was completely calm. He took out his phone and tried to find a signal so he could call for help, but none of of this did any good. The way the tribe members were sitting and eating was a scene that looked exactly like any normal human dinner party. The only difference was that the food on their plates was human flesh, although this tribe also raised pigs and cows. Along with this, they also kept human beings locked up in captivity. The people locked in the cage would eat and drink right there and take care of their needs right there. But as soon as night came, the cannibals went to sleep because there was no electricity throughout the whole village. They lit fires to push away the darkness. Seeing their chance, the college students slowly started making a plan among themselves to escape. The guy with the beard said that if they could find their GPS tracker, he could call for help from outside. But Harv said that none of this would do any good because these tribal people are posted everywhere. And as soon as they finish eating that chubby guy's meat, they will kill all of us too. Hearing this, Justine's anger completely exploded because it was Harv who had brought them here. And because of him, their lives were now in danger. But they could not just sit there quietly waiting to die. So a girl tried to get out through the roof of the cage. But the moment she stuck her head out, a guard tribal member immediately shot her with a knockout dart, because of which she fell unconscious right there. The next morning, a small tribal boy was sitting near Justine. His gaze was fixed on the necklace hanging around Justine's neck. He was looking at that strange whistle. Justine figured that maybe making friends with him could help them escape from there. So she played a melodious tune on that same necklace whistle. The moment he heard the sound, the black butcher came rushing there with his companions. He pulled all the girls out and took them to the same place where the chubby boy had been cut up. Then their clothes were removed from their bodies. The tribe's elder once again started examining everyone one by one. A little while later, 2 girls were sent back to the cage, but Justine was taken away separately. Within just a short while, heavy rain started pouring from the sky. As the rain picked up, all the tribal people except the guards went back to their huts. Seeing this opportunity, a girl inside decided to make a run for it. She distracted the tribal guard by ringing her phone ringtone, then quickly climbed up over the cage and got out. She had been a fast-running athlete back in college, so even on the slippery ground, her speed did not slow down. Then her eyes fell on a wooden boat sitting on the riverbank. She instantly ran over to the boat and escaped from there. After the rain stopped, the tribal people dragged Justine back. Luckily, her body had no injuries on it, but her face and body had been painted with a strange red and white color. Her companions could not even figure out what this meant. Even Harv was completely confused. Then they spotted a tribal girl whose both legs were tied up tightly. Seeing her, everyone understood what was going on. Actually, all these tribal people were about to get Justine married and wanted to do things to her that were beyond anyone's imagination. Finding out about this, Justine got even more terrified. Then Harv said that Justine should consider herself lucky because the ones who get married to them survive a little longer than the other prisoners. Hearing this, the bearded guy told Harv to keep his mouth shut. Then he comforted Justine and said that they would definitely find a way to escape from here. During this same time, some tribal people came toward the cage carrying bowls of food. While handing out the food, Justine's eyes landed on that same small tribal boy again. This time she played the whistle again. The boy kept listening to that sound non-stop without stopping. Over there, Harv was making fun of it all and saying that all of this was a pointless effort. Then he started eating the strange food in the bowl. The blonde girl sitting nearby was hesitating because she was vegetarian, but she could not hold back her hunger and started eating pieces of human flesh. But when the bowl emptied out and she saw the tattoo sitting at the bottom of it, she understood that the pieces of human flesh she had been eating were actually from her friend who had escaped from here. In total shock, she immediately smashed the bowl and slit her own throat with it. The tribal people had secretly killed her friend and cooked her up, but by the time her other friends could understand anything, the girl had already breathed her last. But they did not want her death to go to waste, so they quietly opened her mouth and using a stick, they stuffed marijuana leaves deep down her throat, thinking that if the cannibals ate her, they would get completely stoned out of their minds. The tribal people had absolutely no clue about their little trick. When the black butcher came there, he chopped up the body without any delay. Then he put the torso into that same clay oven. Within just a short while, the strong smell of cooking meat spread everywhere. After eating, several tribal people started swaying around in a weird state, like they had never come across something this powerful before. Seeing their chance, Justine and the bearded guy immediately escaped out of the cage. But the moment another guy started running, Harv knocked him out cold so that Harv would not become their first victim. Justine did not have time to save him, so they immediately ran far away from there. A little while later, the guy woke up from being unconscious. The moment his eyes opened, he saw 2 tribal people sitting in front of him who were still laughing in a strange way under the effect of being completely stoned. Seeing this, he thought that maybe he could quietly slip away. But the cannibals had already developed a real taste for human flesh by now. So one of them suddenly grabbed his arm and chewed right into it with their teeth. Seeing this, he jumped up in terror and started running with every ounce of strength he had. But the other tribal people nearby immediately jumped on him. Within just a few seconds, a crowd had surrounded him from all four sides. Everyone started tearing at his body like a pack of wild animals. In the blink of an eye, his body was torn apart into pieces in the most brutal way. Over there, Justine and the bearded guy kept moving upstream along the riverbank. They felt like they would reach the rescue team pretty soon. Then suddenly, while crossing the river, Justine's foot slipped. She went falling straight into the fast-moving current of the water. Hearing her scream, the bearded guy also panicked. He forgot about everything and started chasing after her along the riverbank. Then using a branch, he somehow managed to pull Justine out of the river. After this, they started moving deeper into the jungle and reached the very same spot where their plane had gone down. Here, the bodies of the people who had been killed were hanging on bamboo poles. Dried out in the sun and wind, they had now become a delicious meal for the cannibals. Seeing this sight, Justine shook with fear, but the bearded guy ran straight toward the wreckage of the plane, where he finally found his GPS tracker. But the tracker's battery was dead, so it was completely shut off. Just then, suddenly, he heard the sound of a cell phone ringtone. Both of them immediately started searching through the pockets of the dead bodies lying nearby. Finally, they found a phone in the pocket of Harv's dead girlfriend. But the moment they both started getting happy about it, suddenly tribal people searching for them like wild animals reached them. Even after all that effort of escaping, they were caught again. The tribal women started getting Justine ready for the wedding, while the bearded guy was tied up tightly to a wooden post. Then the black butcher gave him the most brutal punishment of all. This punishment was nothing less than a living death. First, he broke every single bone in his body. Then he applied a thick green paste of mud all over his entire body. The sweet smell of that mud attracted the ants in the surrounding area toward him. Within just a short while, hundreds of ants climbed up the post and spread all over his body. They started biting into his skin without any mercy. He kept on screaming nonstop in pain. Over there, Justine had been gotten ready for the wedding. Then the tribe's elder came in front of her holding a small knife in his hand. He was just about to start the ritual when suddenly from outside the sounds of loud screaming from tribal people came pouring in. The moment he heard this sound, the elder immediately stopped the ritual. At the same time, a tribal person came running in. In his hand was a cut-off human head of someone. Actually, the rescue team had already arrived in the jungle. This meant that fresh, new prey had come walking right to the cannibals on its own. Getting this news, the tribe's chief immediately gave the order to head out and hunt. Within just a short while, the entire village was emptied out. Only a few children and women were left there. Among them was also that small tribal boy who had heard the whistle from Justine. Seeing his chance, that very same boy quietly freed Justine. While running, Justine also started trying to free the bearded guy. But the man stopped her and immediately told her to take the phone and get out of there. But Justine did not want to leave him behind. Then suddenly, that tribal boy knocked the man unconscious, and the very next moment, slit his throat. Just like that, he died a very painful death. Justine was completely broken, seeing all of this, but still there was no point in her staying there. Just as she started running, Harv, who was locked up in the cage, told her to take him with her, but Justine left that backstabbing traitor right there and moved on. The small tribal boy guided her and brought her quite far away from the tribe. With his help, Justine was just about to make it out of the jungle, but before leaving, she gave her little whistle necklace to that boy as a gift. But while crossing the river, the tribe's people spotted her. During this same time, they also spotted a jaguar there. The tribe's people considered this animal to be a good omen. When they saw that the jaguar did not attack Justine, they took it as a sign from the jaguar and did not chase after Justine. Reaching the other side of the river, Justine came upon a terrifying confrontation. The cannibals and the rescue team were fighting face to face, but the team was way more powerful when it came to weapons. What ended up happening was that the tribal people started getting killed in heavy numbers. Justine accidentally ended up right in the middle of this gunfire. Seeing the dead tribal people, an idea suddenly hit her mind. She immediately pulled out her phone and walked right up in front of those rescue team members. She convinced them that she was not one of these tribal people, so nobody should fire at her. The moment the commander saw the phone in her hand, he immediately called her over toward the security team. Finally, the soldiers stopped their attack on the tribal people. But before getting into the helicopter, one man asked her whether anyone else was still alive. Then Justine hesitantly said very clearly that only she had survived and everyone else had been killed. After this, she was safely sent back to her home. Right there, Harv was left behind forever among those cannibal tribe members. The moment news spread throughout the entire world about Justine surviving this terrifying plane crash, she became famous overnight. But she never revealed that her companions' deaths did not happen because of the plane crash, but because of the tribal people. Instead, she told the world that if it had not been for the help of those tribal people, she would have died in the Amazon jungle after the plane crash. She was doing all of this so that the tribe's generation would not get wiped out. After the interview, when Justine was about to go to sleep, she got a call from Harv's sister. She told her that in satellite images, she had spotted a man. That man's entire body was painted black, and his build matched Harv's exactly. This made it completely clear that Harv had now become the new Black Butcher of the Cannibal tribe. And right on this shocking note, this incredible movie comes to an end. If this story messed with your mind, then you already know what to do. Smash that like button right now and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single video like this one. Drop a comment below telling us which part hit you the hardest.